This shed was a mess, and if I'm being honest, a little embarrassing. So today we are transforming it from old and forgotten to a bright and beautiful feature of our backyard. If you're new here, my name is Charlotte from One More Project, where my husband Oliver and I share our journey of DIY renovating our home. We'd love to have you follow along, so hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more DIYs like this one. This video includes gifted products from the Home Depot, who provided most of the materials for this shed makeover. We also used some tools and supplies that we already had on hand. We want to give a big thank you to the Home Depot for their generous support. First, we pressure washed the exterior of the shed to remove any dirt and grime, and then painted the shed with the Behr Marquee Exterior Paint in the shade Dutch White. We used the Wagner Flexio 3500 paint sprayer to paint the siding, and this was my first time using a paint sprayer for a project, and it made painting go so much faster. We got the entire shed painted in just about an hour. Then I removed the doors and trim because they were falling apart and got started building the new door. We used an LP SmartSide cedar texture panel as the backing of the door, and then framed it out with some pressure treated lumber that we secured in place with some exterior screws. Once the doors were built, it was time to paint. I wanted the shed to match the rest of our house, which is made of brick with some brown and purplish speckles in it, so I decided to paint the doors Catwalk by Behr, which is a really pretty deep purple color. After using the Behr Marquee Exterior Paint with both a paint sprayer and a paintbrush, I gotta say that I was really happy with its ease of application and its coverage. Also, I didn't realize this when we started working on this project, but you're actually supposed to let pressure-treated wood dry for 3 to 6 months before painting it, so learn from our mistakes. Then it was finally time to hang the doors, but of course we brought the wrong size hinges, so we had to go back to the Home Depot to grab some new ones. And like I always say, it's not really a DIY project if you don't have to make multiple trips to the hardware store. The siding of the shed was overhanging a little bit and it prevented the doors from fully closing, so Oliver removed it with our oscillating multi-tool. There was a huge storm blowing in that morning, so we had to get outside at 7 a.m. to get the doors hung before the rain started, and I'm happy to report that we made it in time. We used shims to make sure that we had an even space at the bottom and side of the door and double-checked that everything was level before securing the hardware. Next is one of my favorite parts, landscaping. I grabbed some boxwoods, azaleas, and some other flowers that I don't remember the name of from the Home Depot and started digging. I am a very amateur gardener and don't really know what I'm doing, and whenever I plant something in the ground, I always just close my eyes and make a wish that it actually makes it through the season, and so far, most things have, but we'll see what we end up with after playing garden roulette for another year. Once everything was planted, I used the Vigoro No-Dig Plastic Landscape Edging kit to make a barrier for the mulch. Like I mentioned before, we had just had a huge storm come through, so the ground was really soft and easy to work with, which was great. Then I used some broken down cardboard boxes to create a weed barrier. This is a super effective and eco-friendly weed barrier option. This is my second year doing this in our yard, and I think it works really well. The idea behind it is that the cardboard blocks the sunlight, which suppresses weed growth and adds some nutrients back into the soil as it decomposes. After hosing down the cardboard with some water, I started laying out some mulch for additional weed prevention and a more finished final look. Next, we added a barrel bolt and door pulls for opening and shutting the shed doors. We made sure to check that everything was level before securing the hardware to the doors. Then I added this Vigoro hanging planter bracket that I absolutely installed upside down, but I still think it looks cute, so we're just gonna roll with it. For the final part of this shed makeover, we're building a little wooden planter box to add some visual interest to the side of the shed. We used 1x6s cut down to our desired length. I want to say that we made this planter box around 30 inches long, and we used clamps to hold the wood pieces together before securing them with exterior wood screws. I got a little overly confident and didn't drill pilot holes, and it cracked the wood. So here's your reminder to stop being lazy and just drill the dang pilot hole. We've shared the link to this self-centering drill bit in the description below. It's technically meant for drilling holes for hinges, but we found it perfect for drilling all types of pilot holes because it can only drill up to a certain depth. After we got the sides of the planter box built, we realized that it was crooked and didn't leave enough room for the final edge pieces, so we disassembled it and put it back together with the edge pieces in place, which also helped make the corners a bit more square. If it's not obvious, this is only our second woodworking project and we're just winging it. However, it's a skill that we want to continue to build over the next few years. Then we drilled some drainage holes at the bottom of the planter box and started planting and cutting down some trim to hide the gaps and cracks. Look at this before and after. It's like the mistakes we made never even happened. Once we were finished building the planter box, we sealed it with the Behr transparent waterproofing wood finish in the shade Cedar Natural Tone for added color and some water protection. finally, I cut down a lattice panel that we're going to attach to the back of the planter box to fill a little bit more space on the wall of the shed, and I stained it to match the planter box as well. For the finishing touches, I planted some flowers in the planter box and hung some hanging planter pots on the front of the shed. And here's a quick reminder of how this shed looked before starting this makeover, and here it is now. It honestly looks like a brand new shed, and we were able to finish it up in about 2 weekends, mostly because of uncooperative weather. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more home DIY videos.